Art Fight Week 1 has officially finished, so I decided to make a video discussing some of the attacks I made and my process throughout making them. I had a lot of people ask how I go about coming up with the compositions and posing and such, so I figured now would be a great time to kind of showcase what I've been thinking about as I make each piece, and maybe sharing some shortcuts and stuff I learned to help my process go by faster. I think with each piece, I've been improving at my colors, shading, and speed, so I'm really excited to keep learning and sharing what I've been doing with you all. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So I talked about this in my last video, but I've been thumbnailing all my attacks first before going into the full piece. Thumbnailing basically involves drawing tiny, messy versions of the full piece so that you can get an idea for the composition, colors, and pose on a small scale before getting to the bigger one. This just allows for more room for experimentation, since usually the first thing I come up with is pretty boring. I've found that the first sketch is usually very flat and straightforward, so with my next sketches I try out different angles or exaggerating the pose to be more interesting. I've noticed that I kind of go for the same straight-on perspective in a lot of my pieces, so I've been really trying to break out of that mindset, and thumbnails have really been helping me so I can recognize my comfort zone and actively try to break out of it. I think after Art Fight, I really want to implement thumbnailing into my process more, since I kind of stopped doing it as much after I graduated from school. But once I look back from my first thumbnail to my last one, I can immediately tell that it looks way more dynamic once I really start messing with the perspective. I've also been using these thumbnails to figure out the colors and lighting I want to achieve beforehand, which has really sped up my process. I've always struggled with picking colors, so recently I discovered gamut masking, which involves sectioning off part of the color wheel so that you only have a limited selection to choose from. Then you can only pick colors from the selected area, and you're only allowed to increase and decrease the values to get your color palette. This helps with making harmonious color palettes. I linked the video that explains gamut masking more and includes a tool I use in these speed paints, but you can also use a color wheel where it's more saturated at the sides and more desaturated in the middle. But the tool I use includes masks for different color schemes like analogous and complementary and such. I haven't been completely using it as intended, since I have shifted the hue and saturation of some colors from time to time, as well as altered the colors afterward using overlays and tone correction and such, but it's really helped me feel less overwhelmed when picking colors and also making me think about what colors I want to use. Now I kind of go into each piece thinking about what type of color scheme I want to achieve, and limiting what I can use stops me from overthinking everything and feeling completely lost, which is how color felt before for me. It's also made me consider cool and warm color temperatures and the saturation of colors more and how they work together, and also how I can shift around colors to feel more cohesive. Playing around with it and seeing how those concepts are used in other art has just been really eye-opening for me in terms of color, even if I still don't completely understand it right now. I've also been consuming a lot of Xiaohong Shu or Little Red Note tutorials, which has been really helpful. I'll link the account I've mainly been getting notes from in the description. He paints over art that people submit to him to fix, which has been really helpful to learn from. I think it's really useful seeing someone explain and correct mistakes that other people make, since it gives you an idea of how to fix those same mistakes in your own work. I also linked one video that helped me a lot specifically, since he goes over how and why the colors don't feel cohesive in this piece and how he fixes them to get a better feel, which is something I really struggled with. I mean, I've always understood the basic concepts of color theory, but I've always had a hard time making pre-existing OC's color palettes fit into the scenes I want, and imagining how the colors may change under different lighting. So seeing him alter this character's color palette gave me a better idea of what to do in these situations, and also made me more conscious of contrast and how important it is in designs. And again, it gave me more understanding of color temperature and saturation and how that might differ in the shadows versus the light. Sometimes, as far as thumbnailing goes, I make black and white mock-ups of pieces I want to make so I can get a good idea of the values and make sure there's enough contrast, but I decided on using a black and white filter to just check my values every once in a while to make sure everything is readable instead, since I don't want to spend too much time on all of these. But yeah, that's how I've been figuring out my colors. I've also been using references of other pieces with similar lighting and atmosphere to get an idea of what colors they use and how they achieve that look, as well as photo references, of course. Like the first piece I made was based on this reference photo of a lighthouse keeper ascending some steps, and I did some studies to figure out how the lighting might look here and what colors I might use. I've also been using a lot of lighting layers to nail down the colors, like multiply layers to figure out the shading, or tonal correction layers to play around with the colors and come up with some unique combinations. Going back to the first piece I did, I was going to do a primarily red color palette like the reference, but when I messed around with the shadows, I found that a teal tint in the shadows made the whole piece pop even more. Sometimes just playing around with the color of highlights and shadows can come up with some cool color combinations, so I definitely recommend doing this, and I end up using it a lot in my process. I like doing it at the beginning, at the end, just whenever, to kind of experiment and see if there's a color combination I like more or I haven't thought of. As far as coming up with ideas for each piece, I usually end up picking characters to draw that I immediately have an idea for or an interesting design that catches my eye. I usually end up looking in the character's bio or connections to try and see what aspects of their personality or lore I can implement into the piece and see what kind of ideas I can generate. For example, I saw that this character by Elkin was an outlaw, and I saw that he had a connection with this other character by Cowfool who was more on the reserved side, so I had this idea of them running from the law, with Boone kind of pulling Bailey to highlight their different personalities. I know a lot of people have asked, but it's a bit hard to try and explain how I come up with ideas exactly, since a lot of them just pop up into my head when I see the characters. But reading into their lore can give you some ideas for settings or props you might want to use in the piece, and looking at other artists' work gives me inspiration for the composition and how I might want to lay out the piece. And again, thumbnailing often helps me generate more ideas and come up with something more unique. But yeah, sometimes Pinterest helps when I just scroll and find really good looking pieces and I think, oh, I want to achieve something similar, so I look for a character that might fit that concept and I try to make it in my own way. That's another thing I found that helps with idea generation, and you also have a built-in reference if you base it off of a photo you find. As far as my actual process goes, I've been experimenting a lot since Artfight started. Since I've been trying out new angles I'm unfamiliar with, I've used 3D models to get a better idea of their proportions when it comes to certain poses. Like in the previous attack I mentioned, I wanted to draw the two characters running towards the camera, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do as far as the specific angles went. It took me a while to figure out how to properly use and change the Clip Studio Paint 3D models, but once I did, it was really easy to play around with them and see what angle looked the best. I wouldn't copy these models line for line since stuff like muscles aren't really accurate on these, but they act as a pretty good base proportion-wise. So I just loosely traced over them to get the angle right before refining things and making the pose a bit more lively. I think what also helped was sketching the pose out without the models at first, which felt a lot more loose than the traced over model version. So in the final, I could combine both of those sketches and keep their proportions of the models, but the general energy of my first sketches. And of course, I also used some real life references of people running to make sure it felt more natural and to also get an idea of what the folds might look like in the clothing. I definitely think I could have pushed the pose more, but I'm not too experienced with action poses, so I'm pretty proud of what I did manage to make. It's a very ambitious piece for me, but I'm even more proud that I was able to do it and it wasn't as hard as I thought. But also more on this piece, I ended up tilting it a bit and adding some leading lines to add more motion into the piece and make it feel more alive, which is an idea I got from seeing other art pieces that use smoke or similar lines like this to achieve the same effect. I will say that if you're using 3D models and making a scene like this, pay attention to the horizon line. If you click on a Clip Studio Paint model, they include the horizon line, which can be really helpful when making scenes like this and making the background match the perspective of the model. If you don't know, the horizon line is where the sky meets the ground, so that's where I put it, and I used a perspective ruler on that same line to make the buildings fit the same perspective and also figure out where to put the sheriff coming after them. Another small tip for backgrounds is that the horizon line has its own height. So for example, since the horizon line meets just below their heads, the horizon line might represent 5 feet, if I just assume that both of them are around 6 feet tall. That's why the sheriff in the back, his head meets around the same mark as theirs do, so he looks aligned in perspective. And I used that to roughly guess how tall the buildings in the back may be. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll include some example images in case you need more visual examples. That's just something I picked up from my perspective class that has really helped once I grasped the concept, since you can easily make sure everything feels more proportional in perspective by just figuring out what your horizon line's height is. No matter where anything is, if the horizon line is 5 feet, then anything touching that will be 5 feet tall. That was a bit of a ramble, and eventually I want to do a video on perspective, but I figured I'd throw that tip in for whoever needs it. I know a lot of people are trying new things this Artfight, so it might help if you're trying to do backgrounds like this. This art fight, I've also been playing around with gradient maps and rendering in black and white, which did help a bit when it came to values, but I just really don't like coloring that way. I think I just have a better time using multiply layers to shade and then rendering on top. And since I have thumbnails for each piece, it makes that method a lot easier and faster since I can see what I want to aim for, and I already have an idea of what the final should look like. But yes, for most pieces, after I finish some loose line work, I go in with the base colors, and then use multiply and overlay layers to do some shading. Multiply layers help when it comes to light source. I like the method of filling the multiply layer completely and then erasing where the light would hit, since it makes me think more about form and try to be more conscious about where the light source is. I also like using overlay layers to add some gradients, since it's such a simple way to add more depth to a piece, or in some cases add some bounce light or warmth in certain places that may need it. I've been trying to think more about stuff like that and consider secondary light sources or bounce light and add some hints of color from the background or other parts of the piece into different areas to make things feel more cohesive and make the shading more complex. I've also been trying to balance hard and soft edges. Usually I go in first with a simple flat textured brush to make hard edges, and then I use the airbrush or blur tool to smooth some parts out. Having a mix of those hard and soft edges just looks really nice and is also a good way to add contrast. The method I've been using that helps with this is going from big general shading with a hard texture brush to get all the basic colors and shadows down, and then a basic round brush for details and more delicate shading, and then airbrushing some stuff out and adding more textures at the end. That's been my go-to rendering method, and it's helped a lot with efficiency and also just making everything feel more cohesive. I feel like getting too detailed immediately with my rendering makes things feel lifeless, so instead of just focusing on one part of the body at a time, I kind of just look at everything and slowly narrow my focus. Working big to small like that is something I see a lot of professionals do, and it definitely is really helpful, so I understand why they do it. Even just having a really rough block out for the background has helped a lot with getting a better feel for what the whole piece might look like, rather than just focusing on the character and then the background at the end. I do want to think more about textures in my upcoming pieces because I really like when artists really think about the material of different things and shade them differently, so I'm gonna aim to achieve something similar in my work. It just makes everything feel a lot more real, so I might have to do some material studies eventually to figure out what kinds of techniques I can use there. But I've just been having so much fun experimenting with different things in all of these pieces, and I've also seen so much wonderful art people have done for Art Fight that it gives me even more inspiration for compositions or techniques I want to use next. Sorry if this video has been kind of all over the place. I'm not exactly sure what I should be talking about when it comes to these speed paints. That's why they're usually just in the background while I talk, especially because there's probably a lot of parts in my process I just do without thinking, so I don't really know how to explain it exactly. But I kind of just wanted to give an overview of some of the pieces I've been making and what my general process has been. Hopefully just seeing the speed paints in the background and hearing me ramble has helped a bit. If there's anything specific you'd like to know, feel free to ask it in the comments. I was going to do a little slideshow of all the attacks I got at the end of each of my Art Fight videos, but I don't really think that's plausible with the amount I've gotten so far. But if you drew me something, thank you a ton, I really appreciate it. I'm still commenting on every piece I receive, it just might take me a little bit longer, but the outpouring of kind words and messages and amazing art pieces I've received has been super awesome and totally blown me away. Really reminds me of why I love Art Fight, and seeing everyone's unique styles is just why I love the art community in general. Obviously, I won't be able to revenge everybody, but I've been purely focusing on drawing revenges for both this year and all the previous years I've been on the site, and I'm gonna continue that with every Art Fight I join. In my next video, I kind of want to talk about some stuff surrounding Art Fight since I have a lot of thoughts on the discussions going on right about now, so hopefully I can have that out soon and use my future Art Fight drawings as background footage if you want to keep seeing my process for each piece. Right now I've been doing one piece per day, but I probably won't be able to keep that up for that long, so I'm not sure if I should make more videos documenting my progress or what, so just let me know what other types of content you'd like to see from me. But with that being said, that's all I have for this video, so thank you so much for watching and supporting me, and bye!